Over to Steve. Thanks, Steve.
Cool. Thank you. Cheers. Can you all hear me? Yep. Hopefully, yep. Good. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, going to whip through this. This is one I'm going to talk about today. As Rob said, facilitation and engagement in the new normal remote workplace. So as we say, I've been an Agile coach, Scrum Master for a while, but really a bit of a frustrated developer. So I've got back into development recently, and I'll tell you more about that as we go along. And the reason I got into this was when we first started with lockdown, I was kind of taking a bit of a career break. So I decided to think about what it is that we do as Agile coaches, Scrum Masters. What do we do? What's going to be different if we're in lockdown? Because it's obviously going to be a new normal. We see all these kind of stories everywhere about people going to work from home. Facebook expects everybody to work from home and so on. And it's kind of the new normal. And there was a poll recently on LinkedIn that some people which I thought was very illuminating. And you see here they asked people their preferred ways of working going forward, and 98%, 92%, sorry, said that they didn't want to work full time at the workplace. And 3/4 of people are saying they only want to do the maximum 1 or 2 days at the workplace. It's definitely going to be the future, and it's coming, and we can't really do anything about it. There's definitely a new way, a moment of real change in the world of work now. But if you think about it, this new normal was already here, wasn't it? We'll all deal with offshore teams. We've got multiple offices. We've got people want to work from home to get deliveries and get the dentist and stuff. We don't take holidays for that. And there was already demand for remote working before this COVID, but it obviously made things a lot more. It sharpened the focus a lot more. But of course, as Agile coaches, this is what we do. So this kind of stuff is around the table. We want to be doing stuff with Lego and Post-its and stuff around the table and lots of collaboration. And that's obviously, we can't do that anymore for the foreseeable future. So we do it online, and obviously there are tools like Miro and Doodly, all these kind of things. People use those a lot, but you do get this engagement. I feel does seem to get missed when we have these Zoom calls. And the reason for that is it's not kind of tactile anymore. We're not using Lego. We're not building things with bits of Lego. We're not using Post-its. Right? We're not actually touching things. We're not seeing things. It's just not kind of there. And it's very passive. Often it's a screen share, and people are sharing stuff like I'm doing now and giving stuff to you, and they're not kind of interacting with the stuff. And it's sometimes difficult to understand the current situation because when you're in a face-to-face meeting, people are pointing at things and looking at things. You can see what's going on. Whereas when people just describe the Post-it in the top left corner on a Miro board, it's not quite the same. And people talk over each other and so on. And it's very possible and very easy to drift off, which hopefully you're not doing just yet. But it's easier to drift off because you're not as engaged. You're not making much direct eye contact with. So what I thought is how close can we get to that kind of face-to-face workshop feel online, and what do we need to do to make that happen? So I started collaborating with this guy Matt Phillips, who's invented this no estimates game, and the no estimates game is basically it's a Kanban game, but it simulates work in teams, and it's a way of looking at estimation and helping you come to the conclusion that estimation is a complete waste of time and you probably shouldn't bother doing it. And this is what the board game looks like. It's very, very similar to the actual board game that you play physically around the table, which is why we chose it as an example of something built. And the idea is that you play this game on your own browser. It's in real time, so all your actions are reflected. So it's just like being around the table and doing it. So, and the way it works, you have a set of cards like these. There's 25 of them, and each card's got an average of 21 points, and each player has 4 points they can play. Effort points they can play per day, and some cards have dependencies, some cards are urgent like this one here, and cards randomly get blocked and deployment randomly fails and so on. It's just like real life. And basically all you have to do is you just go into the game and you say, well, okay, we know how many people are in our team, we know how many cards there are and how much effort it is. Let's just come up with an estimate and work out how many days it's going to take us to deliver that many cards. Quite simple, and you will be guaranteed you'll be spectacularly wrong because I've played this many times. I've never got it right. You will be wrong. I can guarantee it. But the point of the game is, I'll get through the kind of the estimation side of it. But the actual point of the game is that these kind of things happen all the time. Things come up on the screen that you have to click, you have to interact with, and that's what makes it really engaging. And having played this with teams, you go to dip into their breakout rooms, you can hear them. They're really kind of engaging and collaborating, and it's really quite exciting. So at the end of every day, you get a card like this, so various things, and again, this comes up on your screen, and people discuss things and so on, and we have retros every few minutes, and these kind of things come up. And when you have dependencies between the teams, you can see here on we've got one team over here on the left has a dependency on the other team on the right, and then so the other team clicks on their cards and it appears on your card. So it's all very, very interactive, and it's very much like the real thing. Okay. And you can chat to the other teams. Obviously, that's a very difficult thing when you're in a Zoom meeting. We're actually running this next Tuesday at Agile Reflect, and we've got 50 people playing it. So you can't really have 50 people on a Zoom all chatting to each other, working out what's going on. So you put them in breakout rooms, and you can chat between each other. And what we get at the end, and the great thing about this game is that obviously we are collecting data as we go through the game. We're working out how long cards are taking and so on, and then we can give people that information back, give them the analysis at the end. So here's a correlation between this is very typical, between the size of a card and the amount of time it takes. And it's very rarely correlated. So small cards don't take less time than big cards, simple as that. But because this is obviously based on the actual data that those people have just seen and they've just played through the actual game themselves, it's very meaningful for them, very, very real, because they thought, this is what you just did, here's the data on what you do. And the conclusion we made from this game is that, again, estimation is really not a very good idea. And if you're going to estimate, what you want to do is something like this. So we take the cards that you've played through the game, and we run Monte Carlo simulations of the games, or we rerun the game, given the outcomes that you've had in the actual game. 1,000, 10,000, doesn't matter, we've actually done up to 1 million times. And what this gives us is a range of estimations. So it gives us a forecast when the work's actually going to be completed, which is a lot more useful than just like an estimate. So as you can see here, in this particular case, we've got 50% chance of completing a work in 47 days, or we've got a 95% chance of it in 65 days. So it's a very engaging kind of workshop, and obviously people are clicking things and they're interacting, they're collaborating and working between teams and so on. But also it's a very useful message that we're sharing at the end, where we're saying, look, we played this game and it's very fun and we all enjoyed it. Here's also some serious stuff, some serious learnings at the end, which is there are better things to do than the kind of estimation you're probably used to. And for the product owners and people involved in these kind of games, it's like, oh wow, so you can actually tell me when my stuff's going to be ready with a confidence level as well. Well, that's really quite useful. So, okay. So that is the game. As I say, it's a little bit too short today to actually play the game. Well, if we could have played it, you can see, you get a real kind of feel for it. But if anyone wants a game, get in touch. We can do a little demo game. But the key is, it's very close to the real thing. And having played the game, people do collaborate and do get engaged really quite nicely. Now, for these games to work, obviously, it must update locally in real time, which is obviously what we've built here. And they must be as close to the real thing as possible. But in a lot of ways, they can be better than the real thing, because, as I say, we can generate analysis of the game and stats and stuff in real time as it goes along. And if anything that involves, like, you have to, a board game, you have to roll a dice or do a spin or this kind of thing. Obviously, we can just do that in code. It's free. It just happens. It's just random numbers and so on. So in many ways, it can be better than the real thing. But also, these games need to be very quick and easy to build, otherwise it's not worth it. You're not going to take a 3-year project to build some little agile game that people are going to play once, that's it. So we have got I hate to call it a platform, that's a bit grandiose really, but we have got a set of some software here that we can build these out quite quickly. And the good thing about them, obviously, we can make them very configurable to organizations. So each game, this is an example of the estimates game we've been talking about, but all the games that we've built that are similar to this, they'll have these facilitator view where you can set up the number of teams, you can set up how often it fails, all kinds of things you can do. You can set the team names to be what the teams are in your actual organization to make it more realistic and more meaningful. But there's lots of ways you can actually configure it to fit better in with your organization. So we've done quite a few of these workshops and games, and we started discussing this. Surely, we could any workshop we normally do around the table, we can do online, can't we? I thought, well, maybe not this one, maybe not the marshmallow game. But yeah, a lot of them we can do, but there are certain ones that really do need that physical thing, which we're never going to quite be able to do. Okay, for the techies, this is what it was, how it's all built. It's basically a Vue.js application with Vuex, and it just talks by socket O to a node server on the back end, and then saves the game state in a Mongo database. So very, very simple. Bit of local storage in case you want to refresh the page, but that's it. Now, if you want to go to this website, Agile Simulation Gamification, is these links at the end. This is where we've basically got a little portal where all the games that we've built so far are all in here, and you can just go in and have a play, or just get in touch with us, and we can go through it and show you what we've got. Always open to any new game ideas, so if you think of anything, do let us know. And so far we've done things like Agile Battleship, we've got Planning Poker with a nice choo-choo train, which is alarm dead against estimation. Survival at Sea we've done a context switching game. And we've taken the no estimates game and stripped some of the stuff out of it. We're starting to build that into Kanban playground, so you can use that as like a training test bed for Kanban, where you can adapt that and look at Kanban concepts and use that as training for that as well. And of course, everybody knows me, knows that I obviously would have done the coin game, which is another game that we've got there. Cool. So there we go. That's a whistle-stop tour of what we're doing during lockdown. I say if you do want to have a game, do get in touch, because actually playing the game does give you much more of a feel than I could have conveyed a few slides, but I think you'll find it quite interesting. So thank you, and as thanks to people who I've collaborated with on building this stuff. And any more information, there we go. That's my details. Thank you very much.